If Hawaii is a surfer's paradise, then the Bonsai Pipeline is nirvana. The epitome of the perfect barreling wave. Pipeline, or simply pipe, leaves both competitor and spectator in awe at its sheer beauty and that raw power. Any surfer who's ever dreamed of getting the perfect barrel knows they have to come to the North Shore in hopes of navigating that thin line between the perfect ride and the realistic danger of being impaled on an unforgiving reef. Today, we have an international field of the best surfers in the world who will compete to determine who will be crowned the warrior and get to take home this coveted trophy. This is the Volcom Pipe Pro, and you are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Aloha, everyone. Sal Masekela here, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series, and allow me to welcome you to the world-famous Bonsai Pipeline on the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii. It is here that Volcom has coined the term the proving grounds. As young surfers attempt to make a name for themselves, tempting fate, pulling in as deep as possible in the barrel in the hopes of emerging to the astonishment and wonder of the fans who are just a few hundred feet from them on the shore break. It is both beautiful and it is deadly. Pipeline and backdoor, they are the essence of tube riding, perfectly barreling over a sharp and shallow reef, which allows surfers the opportunity to go left or right, respectively. Today, we have some of the best surfers in the world here, including the newly crowned 2016 world champion, John Florence, who grew up with Pipeline as his backyard. This guy already has a record 4 of these Warrior helmets, and he would like another one at this year's Volcom Pipe Pro. Other Pipeline specialists include Adriano de Souza from Brazil and the Hawaiian legend, Bruce Irons. First quarterfinal is in the water, so we're going to check in right now with Chris Cote and North Shore Charger, lifeguard, bow hunter, and comedian Dave Wassel. Aloha, gentlemen.
Thanks, Sal, and as past years have shown us, always expect the unexpected here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. In early rounds, 2 shocking defeats. Kelly Slater and Jamie O'Brien went down. Now that leaves the door wide open for a potential dark horse to come from the beginning of this contest and win the whole thing.
And lucky for everybody, the talent pool here at the Volcom Pipe Pro runs as deep as the ocean.
Absolutely. The waves are here. We've got perfect pipeline and backdoor on offer. That means we're going to see some big barrels, hopefully some big scores.
And hopefully one of our underdogs will make it to the final, as they've done every year in the past.
Exactly. You always seem to see that story starting to develop, and we've seen it throughout this entire competition, and we're going to see more. On the beach right now, we've got Tina Dixon.
One thing that really stood out to me here at the Volcom Pipe Pro is the crowd. Just take a look around me, all these people that showed up today. And it doesn't matter if you're a retired couple on vacation, or you're a kid that's being introduced to the sport, or you're a die-hard surf fan. This is where you want to be on the North Shore. You pull up your beach chair, a towel, find some real estate, and enjoy watching the best in the world. And unlike other sporting events, you don't have to buy a ticket. You just got to be able to find a parking spot.
You're absolutely right, Tina. The one thing harder than finding a parking spot is finding a barrel at Pipeline, which is exactly what the judges are looking for.
100%, Chris. And as you can see on your screen right now, there is our judging criteria. Yes, turns do count, but nothing counts as much as getting barreled here at Pipeline.
Well, we're looking for big tubes, and we've got 4 surfers here that will be able to find them. Leandra Usuna, Koa Smith, Soli Bailey, and Hank Gaskell, 2 surfers from distant corners of the Hawaiian island chain. Also Soli Bailey from Australia, and Leandra Usuna from Argentina. Now, to get it this far in the contest, you've obviously got to have skills. We've seen many different conditions in this year's Volcom Pipe Pro, so all these surfers to get this far would have had to battle through some challenging conditions. To start us off here in quarterfinal 1, it is Sully Bailey threading the needle through a high and tight tube. Not quite the clean exit he's looking for, but he does fit in a nice turn after that tube. Dave, when you start a wave like that, you kind of fight through a barrel, you do a turn, the judges are going to be excited, but it's not going to knock them out of their seats, is it?
He did a great job to get busy. You know, getting the judges' eyes right on you, first wave, always a good start. And not to mention, on the way back out, you can always try and skizzle yourself into another wave.
Let's go to the replay.
Great ride. You can see he actually pulls the e-brake, pulls in nice and tight, comes out, like you said, not as clean as he wished for it, but then he just changes gears and goes blitzing right into a sweet little turn.
You know, not that big classic backdoor barrel that we're used to seeing sometimes here at Pipeline, but you got to do the work to get the scores. Sully Bailey now officially on the board. You see as conditions start to change a little bit on the morning. Sully Bailey again, this guy is a QS warrior. That means he knows how to surf through a heat. So he's just catching wave after wave. That wave's not going to do much for his grand total at the end of this heat, but it's all about building up that score line. So as Sully Bailey makes his way back out there, let's go to a feature and show you some highlights from earlier rounds here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. An incredible contest from beginning, and we'll see what happens at the end. But here's some look at what we saw in the early heats in this contest.
Incredible Pipeline barrels, non-stop tube riding perfection.
Now, Pipeline has many faces, as we've seen throughout this event. We've seen sandbar rights on early days. This is a great look. Look at the sand on the inside. This is usually a reef, right, Dave?
It's actually a horrifying reef, but you can see that on a couple of these waves like that right there, Makua Rothman, 10-point ride, had written all over it. Backing it up right behind him, another Hawaiian Mason Ho.
Some beautiful images of a normally death-defying wave. These surfers handling pretty tricky conditions here at Backdoor, you know, seemingly with ease, but we know the skill it takes to ride any of these waves we're watching.
Just crispy conditions, as good as it gets. Light offshore breeze. You couldn't ask for more. And right there is Leandro Yasuna, our South American champion, getting barreled.
So barrels on barrels on barrels, but what we saw in those early rounds, mostly rights. And then as the days rolled on here in the Volcom Pipe Pro 2017, we saw a couple lefts coming through, but the biggest scores, they all happened at Backdoor, and this was a gem from one of the earlier rounds.
Absolutely breathing monster. That thing tried to gobble him up. The young man from Brazil getting extremely barreled, Lucas Silveira.
You know, as you see, backsiders, front-siders, both guys on either side of this wave, Pipeline and Backdoor. It wasn't easy to make it through these earlier heats, and that stands because of this local contingent we have, as well as incredible traveling surfers to get back to quarterfinal number 1. Speaking of one of those traveling surfers, Leandro Yasuna. A little bit of a slow start for Leandro, but again, he is a highly skilled competitor. His heat IQ is among the best of the best, so that means he knows exactly what waves to take to get the scores he needs. You see another quick ride, surfer in black. So, Dave, in looking at these conditions, it really is all about selection and about, you know, utilizing these waves to their utmost capacity, but it's also a lot about luck.
It is. Definitely got to choose the right wave, but you've got to make the most of the situation. Now, as we look at this replay, Leandro Yasuna gets a quick barrel, but then comes out and jams it straight into a turn. Great way of maximizing scoring potential. And then right behind him, the second wave, the young man gets another quick barrel, but then opts not to do the turn. Maybe that was a strategy to get back out quicker, but with 4-man priority, he's still at the back of the line for catching the last wave.
Surfer from Maui, Hank Gaskell, who's spent probably half of his life trying to get waves at Backdoor Pipeline and really doing a great job of that. We know that Hank Gaskell is one of the best when it comes to heavy situations at Backdoor. And on his backhand, Koa Smith from the island of Kauai, a quick up and down. And looking at that wipeout might seem benign, but those are some of the waves that can absolutely put you in harm's way. He's up and paddling back out. He's got a front row seat at Soli Bailey. A nice, clean ride, big finish, and he goes down.
That was a great point, Chris. You look at the choice of waves ridden. I'm looking at, there's a bunch of bump on the face, but the second wave is always smoother. Solomon Bailey from Australia is playing a smart game. Letting the choppy ones go by, looking for this clean face. To his amazement, backdoor smiles, and to the young man in blue, not so much. This turn had everything on the line. Just downshifted, threw it on a rail, but wasn't able to capitalize. Still, the damage was done.
Had that been a completed ride, that score would have absolutely been in the excellent range. But Soli Bailey still proving that a nice, clean barrel will keep you in the game. We've got more surfing to come. John Florence will be hitting the water. You're watching Red Bull Signature Series. This is the Volcom Pipe Pro. We are halfway through our first quarterfinal, and remember, only 2 of 4 of these Pipeline Warriors will make it through to the semifinals. So we get right back into the action from Kauai. Koa Smith opting for a rare left-hander at Pipeline, and that wave did not pay off for Koa Smith.
Looked like he was come flying out on the red carpet, but somebody just pulled the rug out right from under him.
It's a great angle of the action as we look from the outside towards the beach. Now you see conditions starting to wane a little bit from the Pipeline perfection we saw in earlier rounds, but still some good waves on offer. Leandro Osuna with an elevator drop from top to bottom. Unfortunately, the rest of the wave didn't pan out, but what a way to start that wave for Leandro Osuna. And right behind him, rapid fire succession of waves. Hank Gaskell, a quick in and out.
Smart move going for that second wave, but like you said, Chris, the conditions are changing. There's a lot of trade winds. Very common with Pipeline, the wind often picks up in the afternoon.
Speaking of conditions, let's get an update from Tina Dixon on the beach.
I just spoke to contest director Marty Thomas, who said the size of the waves, 6 to 8 feet. Now there is some side wind, which can make things a little bit tricky out in the water. So wave selection and strategy is going to be key today. Now in the quarterfinals, there are a couple young, hungry surfers like Griffin Colapinto, Mackay McNamara, and with what we've already seen so far in this event, that hunger could potentially translate to a win, guys.
Thanks, Tina. And thank you for that conditions report. You see a little bit more wind coming through. That will not deter these surfers in the lineup. They've dealt with all kinds of conditions over this entire contest. And Soli Bailey now, again, opting for the left at Pipeline. Looks like these Pipeline lefts have been starting to come alive, but no real meaty scores as of yet.
Yes, and that's due to a lot of sand on the reef that you talked about earlier. You know, days prior, we had a giant northeast swell, which actually pushed sand from the right of your screen across the left. Now, Pipeline's a beautiful face, but you never want to mask it.
You want to get barreled, and that's exactly what the judges want to see. That's why they'll throw out those big scores. Leandro Osuna now, you know, he was hunting for the tube. You saw him a little bit of hesitation, what it looked like at the start of that wave, but that was really him trying to seek and find that elusive tube time. Unfortunately, did not pan out for Leandro. As your next heat prepares to head out there, Leandro again finding an inside gem. Stalling for the barrel, gets completely covered up. Not a super deep tube, but he makes the most of a smaller wave.
Right, and we talked about the priority system, where once you catch a wave, you go to the back of the line. But if nobody else is going for it, on the way back out, Leandro Osuna squeaked into a great little score.
And history has told us and shown us that sometimes your best waves come from the paddle back out to the traditional peak. And there's Leandro trying to listen closely. Scores are actually being telegraphed from the beach via loudspeaker to our surfers in the lineup so they can actually try to figure out what they need. Here goes Leandro Osuna hunting for a score.
Hunting for the score, but really maximizing everything this wave had to offer. A quick barrel, nice turn, epic rebound, and then sets it up one more time with a check fade into another little pocket. Great job by our water patrol guys on the ski, bringing us all the different angles. No place that you'd rather be than in the barrel at backdoor. Leandro Osuna from South America, showing how it's done.
And with that last wave, Leandro Osuna does just enough to squeak into second place, advancing on to the semifinals with Australia's Soli Bailey with a 6.17 and a 4.0, giving him a total of 10.17. Soli Bailey gets the win. All right, surf fans, the 2016 world champion John Florence is preparing to hit the water for quarterfinal number 2. You're watching the Volcom Pipe Pro, part of the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. I'm your host, Sal Masekela, and this is the Volcom Pipe Pro. Not since 1993 has a native of Oahu's North Shore been crowned world champion of surfing. Hawaii takes a lot of pride in its heritage, and surfing plays a huge role in that and its culture. I mean, after all, native Hawaiian Duke Kahanamoku, he's considered the father of surfing. So, having a world champion represent the island of Oahu means everything to this community. So, it was never really a question of if, but when this talented surfer would get his first world title. Now, at the young age of 24, the most dominant pipeline surfer of the modern era has finally brought the world title back to the North Shore. Hailed as the people's champion, most agree that this is just the beginning for John Florence.
John was my student. He was a good student. He was really good at paying attention and knowing that you were saying something and it was important for him to know it. We, in 6th grade, write a chicken soup for the 6th grade soul. What I learned in the 6th grade by John Florence, I learned that if you want something, you have to work for it. You can't just sit around and something will magically come to you. Go do something. You had better start now. If you had started when you were little, you would have had all the time to practice.
John, setting up a big off the lip.
I'm definitely proud that he hasn't changed. It doesn't matter what you win, it matters what you are. That's John.
John influences every single kid here in Hawaii as much as he does every other surfer, regardless of age, around the world.
Even though he's already the best in the world, he's still trying to get better, you know? And I think that is something that is a trait that's really admirable that the kids can look up to. John's still trying to get better. You know, we should all be trying to get better.
There's only been 4 other people from Hawaii to win the world title. It's a rare thing. People just think like tons of world champions from Hawaii. There isn't. But John's the first one born and raised on the North Shore. And it gives everybody here a sense of pride. In everybody's mind, he's that cute, tow-headed kid who grew up right here at Sunset Beach Elementary. Literally graduated from walking across the street, playing in the sand, to becoming the most famous surfer in the world.
John Florence, your world champion.
It's very rare that somebody realizes their destiny. You could see it was very apparent, even at the age of 5, that he had a special gift. And that gift was he was one with the water. It's something tangible for every single kid here on the North Shore, and that's what's important. He is that sense of personal pride for us, but he also shows the world and all these other kids that, yes, it is possible to achieve your dreams.
So John Florence, at just 24 years old, with nearly 2 decades of experience out here at Pipeline. John will be going up against 3 other surfers who are ready to take his crown. Mitch Colburn, Griffin Colapinto, and Brian Toth. Griffin, 18 years old, the sole teenager in this quarterfinal heat number 2. 3 surfers in the unenviable position of competing against one of the all-time greats here at Pipeline, John Florence, and we're gonna start it off our 2016 world champion, John Florence, with a blistering frontside snap. Follows through with another vertical attacking turn on the inside of what could really be considered John's front yard.
His front yard is better than most, that's for sure. John, what I've noticed about this young man is he's so quick to adapt to what the wave has to offer. Reading it perfectly. It looks like he took off looking for a barrel and just went, nope, it's not going to do it. I am going to just attack the lip. 2 horrendous frontside bashes off the top, making it look way too easy. There's a bit of that acne that we talked about, and that's from all that sand on the reef. John just goes, you know what? It's a nice sunny day. The water patrol is a little hot. I'm going to do my best to cool him down. throwing a ton of water in their direction.
You know, at the beginning of this contest, we always talk about how the judges want to see you get barreled. But if there's no barrel on offer, doing 2 turns like that is going to help your effort to make it through any heat. So John Florence with a great start. Now right behind him, up-and-coming surfer, 18 years old, Griffin Colapinto, into oblivion. A very dangerous position for this young surfer from San Clemente to be in. And right behind him, on the island of Puerto Rico, Brian Toth, back-to-back wipeouts as John Florence again making that a trilogy of terror. Now as our surfers reset themselves in the lineup, let's go to the beach as Soli Bailey is waiting with Tina Dixon.
And Soli, you said earlier that you were just going to wait for the waves to come to you, and that's when you were going to get the job done, but it doesn't seem like that's going to work right now.
Yeah, you know, I had to change my strategy from the last few heats for this heat just now. It was kind of a game of just catching as many good-looking waves that I thought as possible, and just trying to capitalize on it and just build a house.
Moving on to the semifinals, how far do you want to make it today?
I always want to win the event. That's the goal in every event. So, you know, that's the plan, and hopefully it comes off.
All right, thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you, Tina. John Florence and the rest of his 3 quarterfinalists now have reset themselves from 3 crazy wipeouts in a row. And here's our first look at Australian Mitch Colburn on his backhand. Dave, how much more difficult is it to surf these waves on your backhand than it is going on your forehand?
Backdoor on my backhand, no thanks. Let's just put it that way. Mitch Colburn making this wave look way too easy. Hawaii's known for a lot of short waves, and that wave just kept on giving. Mr. Mitch Colburn just teed off a number of times. I think he hit the lip 5 different times. Not what he was necessarily looking for as far as a barrel, but a great start to the heat.
Yeah, and we keep saying you have to be able to adapt to the wave that comes your way. Here goes 18-year-old Griffin Colapinto. Again, adapting nicely with a big frontside hack. Goes into a second turn, possibly looking for an air section on the inside. He opts for a nice snap floater maneuver. Finishes off in a tumultuous piece of whitewater, but that is a completed ride, so that wave will be scored from beginning to end.
Griffin Colapinto, you can't say enough good things about this young 18-year-old from San Clemente. Really just blisters right through that turn. You know what I like? There's no wasted movements. Everything has its place, and then you saw it, he was telegraphing down the line. Looked like it was gonna be an aerial, but he did this awesome rock and roll floater over just inches of water. The wave tries to knock him off, and he comes out victorious.
And behind Colapinto was Mitch Colburn. As Dave said, this wave is not easy going frontside, but backside, it just ticks up the difficulty meter. But I like what Mitch did on this wave.
Great job of staying busy. Like I said, amazing that the wave just kept offering section and section, and he just complied by belting it front and center. Good job, Mitch.
Well, with those last waves coming through, that's going to mean Griffin Colapinto moves himself into first place. That puts John Florence now hunting for a score. Meanwhile, Mitch Colburn opting to go front side at traditional pipeline, goes for the big fins free aerial 360. Unfortunately, gets caught up as he goes for the landing and goes down. So Mitch Colburn back out there to hunt for more. His previous score was enough to move him into second place. So your top 2 right now, Colapinto and Colburn. As a local threat, Mackay McNamara gets psyched. He will be coming up in the next quarterfinal. You see Brian Toth having a paddle here, looking right, going left. Pulls into a nice little cover up, but has to body surf his way. He becomes a torpedo person shooting out of a barrel, but you gotta be on your board to get the score.
Brian Toth, he knows how tricky backdoor can be. He's sticking to his game. He knows pipeline. But with this windy conditions, you know, the lip, it's a chandelier effect where it falls from the top and it actually landed on the nose of his board and knocked him off.
So trying to navigate a tricky wave at pipeline did not go the way that Brian Toth wanted it to. Meanwhile, searching for a score, it's going to be Mitch Colburn. He finds himself on a little runner, tries to go for the big finishing maneuver, goes down. That's not going to be the wave that Colburn's looking for. John Florence now could find himself on a gem, and he throws 2 meat hook turns, finishes strong with a nice closeout maneuver. So again, adapting to the wave that is handed to him. John Florence, that is going to be a score up in that excellent range with 3 incredible maneuvers. So John Florence right now, kind of shockingly, sitting in 3rd place, having to fight for it. Here we go. Brian Toth on his backhand, and he crosses over with Griffin Colapinto. Now, the way this 4-man priority system works, you really have to give way to the surfer who sits above you in the priority line. And that was Colapinto, so that will be an interference, unfortunately, on our strong, goofy footer from Puerto Rico, Brian Toth, and that is going to be... So advancing through quarterfinal number 2 is Griffin Colapinto and John Florence. The world champion moves through. This is the Volcom Pipe Pro. You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. You are watching the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro from the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii. And surf fans, get ready. Our 3rd quarterfinal is in the water. David Ducarmo from Brazil, Luke Shepardson, Bruce Irons, and Makai McNamara, all representing Hawaii. This is going to be an incredible matchup. The waves are still pulsing through, a little bit more wind on the water. But these are 4 surfers that know how to deal with adverse conditions, starting with Luke Shepardson.
Luke Shepardson is one of the local heroes here in Hawaii. The guy really knows how to throw it on the line. In fact, he went so big last year, the Aikau family picked him for the #1 spot into the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational.
And that is an invite for the ages, as Luke Shepardson, that's not an invite you want, an invite to be taken to the bottom of the reef by backdoor pipeline. So Luke Shepardson, this is a guy that if anybody could have made this barrel, he's the guy to do it. Unfortunately, it clamped down on him.
Casual Luke, always cool as ice, double arm stall into the barrel, and as you said, Chris, Mother Nature just not opting to let him out.
So that will not be a score of note just yet for Luke Shepardson. So you see 4 surfers in the lineup jostling for position, and in the sweet spot, Brazilian surfer known as the passionate one, David Ducarmo. Big snap on his backhand, one of the lone goofy footers left in this event. Only getting a 1 maneuver wave, so most likely won't be up in that excellent range, but it'll be enough to get his campaign started. So as David Ducarmo makes his way back out into the lineup, let's go to the beach with reigning world champion John Florence, who's with Tina Dixon.
And someone that knows the many faces of pipeline that we've seen throughout this contest, John Florence. We've seen you get barreled out here, but today, that heat, it seemed all about turns.
Yeah, it was, and it's kind of in that transition, so we were still looking for the barrel, but just had to kind of struggle and switch your mindset to doing turns, and it was pretty hard. The current's ripping through it right now, so it's even hard for turns.
You know, that was an interesting heat. You sat on a pretty low score. What were you thinking during that time?
I was just waiting for an open wave to come in, and I felt pretty confident if an open wave did come, and it just kept, the time just kept counting down, and before I knew there was a couple minutes left, and I was like, whoa, I have a 4-1.
Well, I know you have a lot of fans out here. Looking forward to seeing you in the semis.
Cool, thank you.
So a lot of confidence with John Florence, but you saw a little bit of stress there as well.
But a consummate professional. He knows how to deal with this pressure, and he knows that he can count on a good wave to come to him because he's got that mojo.
Speaking of mojo, can Makai McNamara get it working as he paddles into a smaller but nice looking right here at backdoor? Unfortunately, if a wave like that, even at that size, lands on your back, you're going down. There's no surfer powerful enough to resist the urges of backdoor pipeline.
He did a really good job by staying high and tight at the first part of that wave. It looked like for a second it was going to turn out to be a great little barrel ride. Here it is from the water angle. Stomps on the brakes, pulls in high and tight, and the wave just kind of goes almondy and lands, like you said, right on his back, forcing him face down. Horrifying position. Right there at the takeoff of backdoor is probably the most unforgiving reef on the North Shore. He popped up in one piece, and that's all that matters.
Well, Makai McNamara has an incredible aptitude for surfing backdoor pipeline, so if he couldn't do it, no one can. And right behind him, Bruce Irons. This is a backdoor legend in action. Bruce Irons cranks it off the bottom, finds a nice little pocket ride at high speeds. Beautiful carving snap. A nice casual, mellow approach from Bruce Irons. But with that style, with that wave, you can only guess the judges are going to eat that up like a bowl of cereal.
Bruce Irons has proved himself once again to be one with pipeline and backdoor. On a day that is challenging to everybody, Bruce always seems to find those golden nuggets.
So with this last wave, score coming through a 6.33 for Bruce Irons. Now your heat leader. Look at this, perfect style and perfect placement right into the tube.
Absolutely picture perfect. Couldn't have done it any better. Bruce making the most out of what looked like a kind of a funky wave to begin with. As it rolled down the line, it found the shallow part of the reef, started to barrel, and then he maximized it with a couple of great turns on the way out.
Now, one thing we know about pipeline is you can't get too greedy. You know, you can't try for too much tube time. You will lose that battle. So Bruce Irons doing just the right amount of stalling and letting that tube catch up to him as he went in and out of the barrel. The judges loving it. Now behind him on one of the bigger waves we've seen of this heat, Luke Shepardson into oblivion. Dave, what happens when you wipe out on a wave of that size?
All that really matters is that you pop back up and go out and do it again. Get right back on that bike and go for another try. That is the worst place in the world to be, right in between backdoor and the next break off the wall. That is a ton of water coming down your head. His board's in one piece, he's in one piece. Unfazed, Luke Shepardson will get out there and do it again.
A true warrior, Luke Shepardson, in a position that would send 99.9% of us straight back to the beach. He's right back out there. Let's take a look at this brutal wipeout.
A great takeoff. The wave looked like a 10-point ride from the beginning, and then just that extra bit of water on the end. We talked about that chandelier effect, just came crashing down on him, forcing him down. Glad he's all right.
Well, speaking of all right, this guy's had an all right career. Adriano de Souza, former world champion. He's won everything there is to win. He will be back out there for quarterfinal number 4. And as you look back out into the lineup, this is where surfers start to feel a little bit of that pressure start to well up. The score coming through for Luke Shepardson's last wave, only a 1.5. So, you know, in professional boxing, even when you lose, you get paid. It's a lot different for surfing. If you lose, if you fall, you're not getting paid out. A 1.5 for a crazy wave by Luke Shepardson. Now we go back out to David DuCarmo as he opts for the left and somehow fights through a small but could be impactful barrel. Another big snap for David DuCarmo. The low center of gravity really working out for DuCarmo's favor on that last wave.
Very challenging conditions, but very smart, going from his backside at backdoor to his front side at pipeline, staying very busy, going, okay, maybe I'm not going to get the best barrel, but I can sure do the best turn. Nice maneuvers by Mr. DuCarmo.
Sticking to his strengths. Now we go. Mackay McNamara, he's going to stick to the right here at backdoor. Goes for the opening snap, gets a little bit hung up on his first turn as he's just trying to fight for every point. He needs a 3.34 to advance through. That's actually Mackay McNamara's dad, legendary pipeline surfer Liam McNamara, and they've got a little signaling program worked out between the two of them, trying to give his son the advantage.
It gave him such an advantage last year that Mackay McNamara actually made it from the very first round all the way into the final. We'll see if it pays off here.
So as your surfers now again reset themselves in the lineup, it's going to be Bruce Irons going left. We call that a pig dog because he's trying to just pig dog his way through that barrel. Meanwhile, on the right, Luke Shepardson with a nice carving snap. So on that split peak, Shepardson needs a 4.51, and while Bruce Irons is in the lead, that was only his second wave scored. So as we get to the end of the heat, Shepardson's score 2.73, not enough. Bruce Irons with a score of 1.23 will be advancing through along with David DuCarmo. The 2015 world champion, Adriano de Souza, is heading out for quarterfinal number 4. You're watching Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series and the Volcom Pipe Pro here on the North Shore of Oahu. I am your host, Sal Masekela. Now, outside of actually pulling into one of these massive barrels, one of the toughest jobs might be forecasting for when the waves are actually going to arrive and what days to hold the contest. Literally, all eyes are on you, from the competitors, the event staff, the safety crews, the men and women working behind the scenes to bring you these incredible images, and of course, the fans that are watching from around the world. Over the years, technology has advanced in leaps and bounds with satellite images, computer models that make the job a little bit easier, but in the end, Mother Nature has the final word on whether or not competition is a go.
The basics for surf forecasting is the stronger the wind is blowing over the water, the larger distance is blowing over the water, and the longer it blows over the water, the larger the swell can be.
So with surfing nowadays, we're very fortunate to see this forecasted throughout the week.
Most of these events, they have about a 12-day window and take around 3 to 4 days to complete the event. So what we're doing is we're providing great information to make good decisions on when those 3 or 4 best days in that 12-day window are going to be. So best conditions for pipe is you want a large, long period west swell with wind that's either out of the east or southeast at light to moderate levels. If we're trying to figure out what's going to make that type of swell and those type of winds, then we're looking for a storm that's out in the ocean, preferably that's coming right off Japan. Then that storm has to be strong. We've got forecast models that will tell us a storm may be developing 10 days from now. We use satellites to measure basically the wind speed, the wave heights, all these kind of variables are met. You know, we see really strong wind, we see the storm tracking towards Hawaii. Those are all really good signs that we're going to get a great swell for pipe. So we'll send out an email every night to the contest director and say, this swell is kind of right on track, or hey, it's a little bit different than what we were thinking, and that can impact if that particular day is going to run, or if there's something that looks better, 3 days out, 5 days out, 7 days out, you might wait for something that looks a little bit better.
We're going to try our hardest to make sure that we get the best surfers in the best conditions allowed in the next 2 weeks.
We feel good about it. We want to go. All right, day one on. Yeah. 8 o'clock start. Okay. All good? Yeah. All right.
We are lucky to have the best in the business when it comes to surf forecasting. And while, 10 days might seem like a lot of time in the real world for a surf contest, I mean, that might not be enough all the time. You really got to get 3 days of competition out of that 10 days. And luckily for us, we've got it. Quarterfinals, heat number 4 is on. Lucas Silveira, Seth Moniz, Adriano de Souza, and Aritz Aramburu hitting the lineup. The waves have stayed with us, Dave. Surfline forecast has been spot on.
They've been all the help, the ace up our sleeve, helping us pick the eyes out of it. And speaking about picking the eyes out of it, the young man from the Basque Country, Aritz Aramburu, getting off to a quick, great start.
So Aritz looked like he got the best of that exchange. He split the peak there, meaning he went one way and the other surfer went the other, who was Seth Moniz, who has really kind of put himself high in the pecking order, meaning oftentimes when Pipeline is firing, Seth Moniz, even at just the age of 19, has put himself in prime position to be the future of surfing at Pipeline and Backdoor. But Aritz, I mean, he is no slouch when it comes to tube riding. He's kind of, I would say, underrated. One of the best tube riders on the planet.
And was for a long time on the World Championship Tour. Here he is on the qualifying series trying to get back into that top 32 seed.
So Aritz Aramburu got the better of that exchange, as we see Seth Moniz, just a quick up and down, but he'll get right back out there. There's Seth navigating his way back out of the peak. So as our surfers reset themselves, let's go to the beach. David Ducarmo is with Tina Dixon.
David, those last few minutes, that was a nail biter. It was a nail biter for us on the beach, and for you guys, how did you make the decision to go on that wave? Because you didn't really need much.
Yeah, that was nervous right there because I know I was need a small score, a little score, but it's hard to find a good one. So I just can calm down and wait for the good one, but never come. And so
little left come to me, then I made it, and then I just give it to me 3 something, so I'm happy to make the semifinal.
Well, you did get the wave and you are moving on. Best of luck.
Thank you guys.
So David DeCarmo, he's already made a huge statement here at the Volcom Pipe Pro in past years. We'll see if he can continue that role. Here we go. Adriano de Souza, former world champion, and it's because of turns like that that he has been such a just influential and insanely highly ranked competitive surfer. De Souza right there, just from beginning to end, utilizing that entire wave for everything that it's worth.
That was some incredible surfing. I mean, just belted the lip. Took off, gave it one big fat lip, and then the wave went crying off with 2 black eyes. Apparently, Miley Cyrus isn't the only one coming out like a wrecking ball. Boom! Huge turn. Adriano de Souza, a tenacious competitor. Great smile on the beach, but don't get this guy in a heat, because he will take it to pieces.
He's got one of the highest winning percentages of any surfer, past or present. Adriano de Souza is a guy that rarely loses, and with surfing like that, he is looking like a lock as he gets a mid-range score that's going to be enough to get him in the driver's seat. But who will face Bruce Irons and David DeCarmo in the semifinals, the conclusion of quarterfinals, when we return to the Volcom Pipe Pro? You are watching Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. You are watching the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro from the North Shore of Oahu. We're halfway through quarterfinal number 4. Conditions changing rapidly. Our competitors are going to have to adjust. And making that adjustment, it looked like having a paddle, was surfer in blue, Seth Moniz, and now he finds himself right back in the zone. He's digging for a nice looking wave at backdoor pipeline, cranks it off the bottom, straight up in the lip. A beautiful opening turn for Moniz, but not much left after that first turn for our young Hawaiian.
And that was a case of maybe not choosing the best wave out of the set. The great top turn. You saw the fins come all the way out the back, but nothing on offer after that. Seth Moniz, quick to make mincemeat out of that lip.
So here you see an angle from above, a lot of whitewater on the face. That makes it really challenging for those fins to engage, right?
Incredibly difficult. You know what? He has come up against so many difficulties in this event so far. To mention top would be defeating Kelly Slater, 11-time world champion. And he did it convincingly with 2 excellent scores.
Seth has taken a rough road to get here to the quarterfinals, but can he advance through? Having a paddle now, surfer in black, Aritz Aramburu. He's got a nice looking right here, pulls up high and tight into the tube, gets the exit, goes up into the lip. Now that is just blue collar surfing right there, doing exactly what that wave dictated. Behind him, Lucas Silveira in red. Drops in, goes down.
Lucas Silveira, don't count him out. He is a Brazilian junior world champion. He knows his contest savvy better than anybody. Ooh, I'm not sure if he got hurt or perhaps his equipment. He's looking back towards the beach. We'll have to tune in to find out.
There you see Silveira. So we look at this replay here. This was Aritz Aramburu, and this was kind of the polar opposite of what we saw from Silveira's wave.
And great comment, blue collar surfing, getting work done all down the line. Drops into this wave, looking at the mechanics of pipeline, checks under the hood, gets right up in it, comes out, telegraphing down the line, and just sets this one to bed with a great top turn. Bang! Incredible water angle. Thank you, mister.
This is the reason why these surfers have what we call board caddies on the beach. So Lucas Silveira snapping his board on that previous wipeout. Now this is going to eat up precious time for Silveira, who is right now not advancing through, but meanwhile Seth Moniz on his backhand, a Herculean effort, somehow still standing after the weight of that heavy wave at pipeline crashing down on his back. It looked like he split the peak there with Adriano de Souza, a surfer in white, paddling back out. Now these could be 2 scores of note as both surfers are looking for this elusive advancement. We'll see what Adriana de Souza did on this right.
A little bit of that split peak soup. What I've noticed is everybody in this heat quarterfinal has paid attention to the others, and they're staying super busy. There's like a million waves being ridden as compared to Bruce Irons, who only rode 2 waves. Same with John prior. These guys are staying busy.
Now your top 2 waves will count, and only 2 surfers will make it through to the semifinals to meet up with Bruce Irons and company. So the scores coming through: Moniz a 3.5, De Souza a 2.83. So as it stands, Aritz Aramburu in the lead, Adriana de Souza in second. Silveira and Moniz both looking for waves, as we see a chunk of the Pacific popping up for Lucas Silveira. Cranks it off the bottom. Quick, speedy turn to start it off. Just another quick snap. 2 great turns, but the judges are being extra picky now as we get deep into the quarterfinals. Most likely won't be enough for Lucas Silveira, who is hunting a sizable score.
He's chasing about almost a 6.5 point ride right now, but he did good by taking off on a wave. Although he might not have gotten the entire score here on this wave alone, he definitely narrowed the margin for him making it into the semifinal. Realize, Chris, you don't have to get first place. The top 2 surfers advance.
So as quarterfinal number 4 draws to a close, Silveira with one last-ditch effort. Big snap. Another open face layback hack where he actually laid down in the water and somehow continued with speed, standing up down the line. So one final turn for Silveira, and he likes it.
He feels like he got enough. With seconds counting down, will that be? I'm not a judge. I'm going to leave that up to the pros, but he's definitely feeling it right now.
Or he thinks he got it. The judges, do they agree?
Couple of sweet turns right off the bat. Not the barrel he was looking for, but definitely stayed busy all the way down the line, looking at this oncoming section, and he just goes ham on it, throwing everything he's got, including the kitchen sink. Double fist pump. Will it be enough?
Well, the judges have spoken. It's not going to be enough for Lucas Silveira. So advancing through, Aritz Aramburu and Adriano de Souza. The quarterfinals are done. We're looking forward to epic matchups. North Shore native and current world champion John Florence entering the water for the first semifinal when we return to the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro. This is the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series, and welcome to Paradise here at the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro from the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii. Semifinal number 1 is underway. Australia's Soli Bailey, Leandro Osuna from Argentina, John Florence from right here on the North Shore, and Griffin Colapinto from San Clemente, California. Who's going to start us off here in semifinal number 1? It is going to be the North Shore's own John Florence having a paddle. This wave looks like it could be a grower. Nice opening snap for John. Another big turn straight up and into the lip. Unfortunately, John Florence goes down.
Very uncanny of the 2016 world champion. John Florence, not known for falling. A humongous first turn and setting it up for the next one. You just look at the way he pushes against that lip. Mother Nature says, oh yeah, and pushes right back, causing our world champion to falter.
So as John Florence makes his way back out to the lineup, the score comes through a 3.17. Pretty good for a 1 maneuver wave. Most likely not good enough for advancement. Behind John, Leandro Osuna, dragging everything he's got to slow down enough to get himself inside that tube. He does nicely. Won't be an excellent score, but most likely be right there in that mid-range. A great start for Leandro Osuna.
He did really well to get that wave off of red. There was a bit of a paddle battle at the takeoff. Speaking of paddling and battling, Griffin Colapinto up and into the lip. Once, twice, telegraphing down the line, looking for a third, and there it is.
Ooh. You've got to complete those final maneuvers to really get the full attention of the judges. Colapinto with 2 nice snaps to start. Unfortunately, couldn't get that finish. Love this opening turn, really reminiscent of the one and only Andy Irons.
Great call, Chris, great call. The kid is that talented. He's yet to win a world title, but he's definitely on his way. Making his way through all that white water, the fins come out, and he falls. There was that paddle battle that I spoke of earlier. Leandro Osuna doing a great job to just sit on his rear end and park himself right into the sweet spot. Good opening score for the young man from Argentina.
So as the judges deliberate, scores coming through. Griffin Colapinto gets a 3.13, not a huge score, but could be enough to build his way to a lead. So as we wait for more surfers to catch wave, let's go to the beach. Tina Dixon is with Bruce Irons.
Well, and Bruce, with not much to pick from, you were able to find that barrel and get the score that you needed. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, it took me a little while to find a wave, and yeah, the rip went through the lineup for our heat, so it was, I don't know, it got real tricky out there, and you know, I just waited and waited, and I missed the wave. That there's a really good wave that I didn't go on, which it probably looked like the best wave of the heat, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I made the heat.
Yeah, you know, moving on, how much at this point do you just have to adapt and figure out what's going on in the water when you're actually out there?
Yeah, today's a real day of knowing the lineup, and because it's so tricky out there, you got to read the rip currents and stuff, and it's going to be you know, it's going to be finding the waves to win the contest.
Thanks, Bruce. Guys, seeing if that knowledge pays off.
Well, if anyone's got the knowledge, it's Bruce Irons. He has had some incredible heat wins out here, and we'll see if he can keep that roll going. So with conditions ever changing here at Pipeline, we wait for our next surfer to run the gauntlet. Who's it going to be? It's going to be surfer in red, Soli Bailey, having a deep paddle. It's looking like one of the bigger waves we've seen thus far in the semifinals, dropping down to the bottom of the wave, in and out of a tricky, heavy end section barrel. Dave, that's exactly what the judges want to see. The risk will equal the reward.
Solomon Bailey has been on fire all day, picking off great waves, nice smooth face waves, the ones that are going to offer the barrel. You can see he knows this wave is going to barrel, and he's just waiting, drops the backhand, gets the cover up, finds the doggy door, and the score.
Yeah, that doggy door exit, meaning that small, precise exit these surfers need to navigate in order to complete their waves. So the judges deeming that a completed barrel ride. The scores coming through a 5.0. That is a nice chunk of points for Soli Bailey.
Absolutely, Chris, and especially on this day where you can see that many white caps out front. The good thing about Pipeline, although it does get windy midday, it settles down in the afternoon.
Well, that's what these surfers are hoping to see, as well as surf fans who have just been lining the beach throughout this entire event. Soli Bailey now, surfer from Australia. One last-ditch effort, finds a tube. Nicely ridden in and out barrel for Soli Bailey.
We talked about those conditions, Chris. There's just so much chunk on the face, almost as if it was acne. These guys are just punching their way through all sorts of trouble. Here comes Solomon Bailey punching his way through the lip on this wave to yet another completed barrel ride.
So Soli Bailey getting it done. Score comes through a 4.40. So John Florence now needing a little help from Mother Nature to advance to the finals. Will the current world champion get the waves he needs? If anyone can pull it off here at Pipeline, it's John. That and more when we return. You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. This is the Volcom Pipe Pro, and we are in the middle of semifinal number 1 with current world champion John Florence battling it out, but trailing in the pack. He's got his work cut out for him if he wants to advance to the finals.
You can see on your screen, Chris, not only is there a bunch of white caps, there's a bunch of current. These guys are constantly paddling like salmon trying to get upstream. They know that they have to maintain their lineups. But here, sitting wide, getting a great little cover up, Mr. Griffin Colapinto not able to find the exit.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier, the doggy door, that small exit these surfers are trying to find. That is an example right there of not finding the exit. Griffin Colapinto goes down, score coming through, just a 1.43. Now we see John Florence. He needs a sizable score to get himself back into contention. But again, if anyone can do it, it's John Florence. He knows this wave like the back of his hand, paddling into what looks like a gem of a wave here at backdoor. Beautiful opening snap, but only a one maneuver wave for John Florence. And this is a big maneuver, but will it be enough? Exactly what are the judges looking for as John goes through this turn, Dave?
They're looking for this type of turn, but a series of them. I mean, in my book, that was a 10-point ride. I'd take that any day of the week. But for John Florence being behind the 8-ball, will it be enough? Slicing his way through that open face of backdoor beautifulness.
Well, the judges having reacted to that one menacing snap, they throw out the score. It's enough to get John Florence into second place at 3.57. Now Colapinto and Leandro Osuna have to do some work to get back in this heat. Your current leader, Soli Bailey, now looks like he could be in position to get a wave. And here we go, paddling into what looks like a tricky section in front of him. Somehow Soli Bailey finds an exit on a wave that looked like it was going to give him a minimal chance to escape the barrel, but Soli Bailey showing his veteran knowledge on the qualifying series gave him the tenacity to fight through that barrel. And right behind him, Leandro Osuna trying to fight back into this heat as well. Beautiful opening snap. Nice finishing maneuver for Osuna. And he throws the hammer fist. The whistles come up from the beach. And now we've got some tense moments as Griffin Colapinto gets in the mix.
Griffin Colapinto, exactly what the doctor ordered, in and out the doggy door. I'm claiming the barrel's gonna top the two top turns from Lele Osuna.
And the judges agree, a 7.37 for Colapinto, meaning John Florence is out. Soli Bailey, Griffin Colapinto advance to the final. 2015 world champion Adriana de Souza prepares for the second semifinal when we return to the Volcom Pipe Pro. You're watching Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series as we pass by the beautiful Turtle Bay Resort here on the North Shore of Oahu. This is the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro, and we are ready for semifinal number 2. Some pipeline legends in this heat, Bruce Irons and Adriana de Souza, who won both the 2015 World Tour and Pipe Masters event that year. Bruce and Adriana will be going up against Aritz Aramburu and David Ducarmo. This is going to be a heavy heat. Dave, the conditions, the waves have stuck around, but the wind has popped its ugly head up, hasn't it?
It has, but there are barrels to offer. We saw quite a few actually top scoring waves in that last semifinal. And here on the first opening ride, getting busy, Adriana de Souza just taking it to the sky.
Yeah, his backhand is among the best of the best. No barrel in that wave, but two nice turns. A great way to start for Adriana de Souza, your surfer in black. So there is the just Herculean effort that you need to even stay in place. The current running through like a river. And there's that big backhand snap to open it up for Adriano.
Adriano de Souza is one fit young man, always being in the right place at the right time and capitalizing on every wave he takes off on.
You know, one thing of note, when you get a wave going left at pipeline like Adriano just did, it could actually deposit you back in a great place to back up your previous wave quickly, as Adriano de Souza finds himself on the right spot of the reef. You see him in black right there, somehow finding himself again right back in the sweet spot. He opts for the backhand again. Beautiful bottom turn, straight up in the lip, throwing spray to the heavens as Adriano now takes it up a notch from his previous wave. Beautiful backhand surfing from Adriano.
That was very interesting, Chris. You know, there was a couple other surfers out there in contention for that wave, but they didn't even look at it. And Adriano de Souza just went to town on it, definitely bettering his prior ride.
You're absolutely right. The score comes through a 4.5 for Adriano, and here's why. Look at the meat and potatoes serving here. Bam! Power hacks on Adriano's backhand.
Just non-stop cutthroat surfing on that lip. Like a precision surgeon, he just went to town, took something and just made it his own. Adriano de Souza has come to play.
And the judges, they are coming to play as well, dropping another sizable score for de Souza, 4.50. So now the surfers in this field have to react to a blistering start from the former world champion Adriano de Souza. So while we wait for more waves to come through, let's go to Sal Masekela in the Red Bull Signature Series studio.
Thank you, Chris Cote. Did you know that the Volcom Pipe Pro has only seen 3 winners in its 7-year history? Pipe aficionado Jamie O'Brien in 2010, current world champion John Florence in 2011, 12, 13, and 15, and the 11-time world champion and most dominant surfer in history, Kelly Slater. You have any favorite moments from those past competitions, people? Let us know. Share them with us. There's plenty to talk about. How about you strike up the conversation? Follow the Red Bull Signature Series on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the Snapchat. Hit us up with the hashtag Volcom Pipe Pro, or you can go to the RedBullSignatureSeries.com, where we have plenty of exclusive content that we've made just for you, plus our schedule for the entire season. And you can also download the Red Bull TV app to watch this episode and all episodes from every season. Why? Because we love you. You're watching the Red Bull Signature Series, and this is the Volcom Pipe Pro from the North Shore of Oahu.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. The Pacific has come alive here on the North Shore of Oahu. Our second semifinal is on. This is the Volcom Pipe Pro, and halfway through this second semi, 2015 world champion Adriano de Souza is hanging on tightly to the lead.
He's got this heat in a stranglehold so far, those 2 opening scores, but not to be outdone, his countryman David DeCarmo up on this left.
So DeCarmo sticking to what he knows, going left at Pipeline. Finds himself in a quick barrel, but a nicely ridden wave that looked super challenging to even read. So much whitewater coming up the face. So DeCarmo, you know, he did basically as good as you could do on that wave, which did not have a lot to offer, but I think he made the most of it.
Definitely made the most of it. To me, it looked like he didn't know exactly what the wave was going to do. Is he going to go for an aerial, a top turn? But right here, he parks it underneath that cascading lip, gets a great little barrel, almost comes unbuttoned as he comes out against all that tumultuous white water. But Mr. DeCarmo is so strong that he out-battles Pipeline and completes his ride.
Well, the judges knowing that that tough wave to surf warranted a nice score, so DeCarmo gets rewarded with a 4.17. Now we've got the action coming in hot as surfers are vying for position as a nice chunk of water moves through the lineup. It's going to be surfer in white, Aritz Aramburu. High speed drop into a barrel, and he exits cleanly onto that open face. Big carving rail turn for Aramburu. This is looking like it's going to be a solid score as he pulls right out to sea. Bruce Irons going left, dragging into a barrel, using that hand to stall himself to allow the wave to catch up to how fast he's going down the line. So Bruce Irons with a perfect read on this wave at Pipeline. What a ride.
And there it is once again, Chris. They called it that pig dog stance. It's that 3-point stance as he uses every part of his body to stabilize himself and slow himself down in the barrel. Coming out with the completion. Aritz Aramburu doing the same on the right-hander. Both these gentlemen know exactly which kind of wave they want to take off on, and they're waiting for it. And it's proving to be some of the top scores of the heat so far.
A great exchange between Irons and Aramburu. Aramburu gets a 5.23. Bruce Irons a 6.77. Now Adriano de Souza hanging on to the lead. Bruce Irons jumps up into second place. Aritz Aramburu in third. David DeCarmo in fourth. Now Aritz needs a score of a 5.23 to give himself a shot at advancement into the finals. Looks like he sees a chance. He takes it, paddling into a nice right-hander here at Backdoor Pipeline. This wave just didn't give him the chance he wanted. Nice slicing finisher, but not much on offer for Aritz Aramburu, who needed a decent score, a 5-2-3. I don't think the judges are going to make it that easy for Aaron Brewer as they look back to the outside. On the right, David DeCarmo dropping in on his backhand.
Dropping off the bottom, off the top. This wave grows throughout the inside, and he just rises to the occasion. There it is, that fist pump, which was definitely warranted as he smashed that lip and free fell over inches of water. David DeCarmo posting a score.
So here we see a split peak situation. Bruce Irons going left, DeCarmo going right. You see that free fall after that blistering backside turn. DeCarmo's hammering the lip again. So two big maneuvers for Brazilian surfer David DeCarmo. And that second turn, that was high speed and high risk. As DeCarmo somehow escapes disaster pulling out. Meanwhile, Bruce Irons going left. Not much on offer for Bruce.
But this is a great Bruce Irons. He's staying busy. In that last quarterfinal heat, he only caught 2 waves. He's already maximized his heat scores so far, and let's see him do that again on another wave. Come on, Bruce.
So Bruce Irons previously sitting with that 6.77. That's the single highest scoring wave of this heat. And now remember, only 2 surfers will advance through this semifinal into the finals of the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro. Who will it be? Adriano de Souza wants his name on that list. Pulling in nicely to a quick right-hand barrel backdoor pipeline, grabbing the rail, powering through a nice roundhouse cutback. Adriano de Souza, a little bonus section on the inside. And of course, we know what Adriano is going to do if you give him the opportunity. He'll take it. A beautiful wave for Adriano de Souza.
I'm noticing that the ocean is settling down. There's not so many white caps out the back, and there's a lot more barrels on tap. Adriano de Souza coming in hot. Right out of that Easter keg hunt. It's a keg party, Chris. Tap himself into the fun.
So Adriano's scores come through, a 5.6. Now that's going to move Adriano de Souza into the lead. Now Bruce Irons needs a score. Bruce sitting with that 6.77 needs something sizable if he wants to advance. And there's a finalist, Sully Bailey, getting ready for what could be one of the biggest heats of his career. He's got to watch as Bruce Irons paddles. What will this wave offer Bruce? There we see a nice casual approach. Bruce Irons pulls in, disappears, and he comes out. Bruce Irons with the last second Hail Mary gets a perfect barrel at backdoor pipeline. That was an incredible wave.
An absolutely stellar performance by Bruce Irons. What I also noticed, he's on a different board. The board he rode in his quarterfinal heat had the rising sun on the bottom, and that one didn't. Here we go on his backhand. Aritz Aaron Brewer looking for the barrel, and it's just not gonna happen.
And with that last attempt not coming through, Aaron Brewer goes down. That means Bruce Irons takes the win along with Adriano de Souza. Now let's go to Sal Masekela to lead us into this epic final.
We got ourselves a final, friends. 21-year-old out of nowhere, Australian Sully Bailey, Brazil's Adriano de Souza, the young man Griffin Colapinto out of Southern California, and the legend, Hawaiian Bruce Irons, all set to compete and determine who's going to be the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro champion. And get this helmet, our first new champion in the 7 years of this event. You are watching the Red Bull Signature Series from the North Shore of Oahu.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. This is a beautiful look at the North Shore of Oahu and the Banzai Pipeline. This is the Volcom Pipe Pro, and we are ready for our final, which has some veteran pipe masters and some young up-and-coming talent. There will be a new champion this year, as all the previous winners are out of competition. Sully Bailey, Griffin Colapinto, Bruce Irons, and Adriano de Souza will do battle as the conditions appear to be improving.
100%, Chris. We can see that the trade winds are backing off and the tide is actually getting lower. A lot more barrels on tap. Here we go, looking sharp all the way through the contest so far. Solomon Bailey, first ride, nothing to speak of.
Well, he has uncorked the champagne, so to speak, and we are off and running in this final. And there you see all business on the beach 4 surfers in the lineup. No advancement this time. This is for all the marbles who will take the title here at the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro. Soli Bailey, that score comes through. Nothing of note, just a .37. Who will draw second blood here? It's going to be San Clemente surfer Griffin Colapinto in his first final ever here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. Fights under the lip for a quick yet really wet barrel ride. Not a clean tube like the judges like to see, but it'll be a decent start and a better start than Soli Bailey had. Griffin Colapinto is on the board.
This is true, Chris. The judges have spoken. They've seen enough turns. What they want are barrel rides, and that's going to give you the score, and that's going to give you the win here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. Griffin Colapinto doing his best to keep his head from getting ripped off his shoulders.
Now this kid is an absolute star in now all waves. We've seen what he did in this year's Vans Triple Crown of surfing, some heroic finishes. We've seen what he can do in small waves. His air game is among the best of the best. But can he match Soli Bailey with his QS veteran knowledge, weaving through a fast, long tube, going for the second, getting a little greedy with his tube time, but I feel like the damage had been done on that first section, which the judges will deem as a completed ride, as he did exit that first portion of the barrel.
I see Solomon Bailey building momentum. The guy's a juggernaut. Will anybody be able to stop him? He's been posting more excellent scores than anybody else. He has definitely proven to be the man to watch here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. Here he is parking under the hood, completely out of sight, barreled, and just says, you know what? I want more.
I want more. Well, this is the portion of this wave the judges were looking at. That barrel from beginning to end, so tough to ride. You see, he popped out. That told the judges, I'm still going, I'm still riding this wave. So they basically stopped their scoring right there, but it came through, and it's sizable, a 5.67 for Soli Bailey. Soli Bailey comes into this final as the underdog, as the other 3 surfers, really household names already at this point. Here goes Bruce Irons, almost got the read he wanted. Again, now it's pretty rare to see Bruce Irons going down on a backdoor wave like that, but could not find the exit.
With lots of time left, I've got all the hope in the world that Bruce Irons will find another gem. Lots of waves on tap. As you can see, there's corduroy to the horizon.
Now Griffin Colapinto finds a nugget of a wave here, pulls in, stays in, but goes down. So Griffin Colapinto maybe putting a little bit too much emphasis on stalling to allow for that tube to catch up for him. He goes down, that score comes through, just a 1.13. There you see the beach is absolutely packed. Surf fans are fired up for this final. And speaking of fired up, Adriana de Souza opting for the left. Nice grab rail, backside tube ride. That's our first real wave of consequence in this final. Of course, who is it? Adriana de Souza, Mr. Consistency.
Mr. Consistency taking it to the judges saying, you want to see a barrel? Here you go, pal. Serving it up for you hot and fresh.
So take us through this wave, Dave. I mean, this was just expertly read.
Extremely well ridden. That ability to drop from the sky and then hold on to the wave and just dump all your speed is so hard to do. He actually had to look to Jamie O'Brien for some help to teach him how to surf pipeline. And it worked out. He's got a Pipeline Masters trophy to his name. Looking for another here at the Volcom Pipe Pro.
Well, a new champion will be crowned when we return. You are watching Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series. This is the final of the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro here on the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii. The young gun out of Australia, Soli Bailey, is currently in the lead, but he's going up against some wily veterans with plenty of experience out here, and they're going to try to take that lead away. Now here comes another set, straight back into it. Griffin Colapinto, our rookie threat, on a massive backdoor wave, pulls in, bravely facing what looked like near disaster, and in fact, it ended up in a maelstrom of whitewater coming down on Colapinto's head.
Griffin Colapinto is my new favorite surfer in the world, really throwing caution to the wind. Coming from Southern California, I'm pretty sure there's not too many waves that resemble backdoor. But The kid has absolutely proven himself to be fearless in all types of conditions.
Now, as you see the water coming through, the waves are just getting better and better, which is exactly what we wanted to see on the day here on the finals of the Volcom Pipe Pro. Here goes Griffin Colapinto. What happened here, Dave?
Everything went wrong. The whole wheels came off right about there as he falls out of the sky, and just an anvil of water lands right on top of his head.
Oh, and the judges can be so unkind. Even after that massive effort, only a 1.83. That would be the hardest fought 1.83 of young Griffin Colapinto's life. Meanwhile, Soli Bailey stroking into what could be a solid wave, and it is standing tall in a beautiful backdoor barrel. This Aussie threat is on fire, backing it up with a second tube and a nice carving snap. Soli Bailey making his intentions known.
Solomon Bailey is like a kid left alone with a matchbook. He has just set this heat on fire. Great ride by the young man from Australia, and did better than his first score and got that second bonus barrel on that wave.
Yeah, let's remember Soli Bailey's first wave of 5.67. The judges have to throw out a massive score for this wave.
Just unbelievable steeziness as he comes out of 2 barrels and then throws it up into the lip. He's feeling it. You can actually see the elation. He's wearing it on his sleeve. You know what? Griffin Colapinto actually had probably a great view of this wave as well.
So if Griffin used his inner judge, he would have had to agree with our actual judges. Score comes through, and it is massive, a 7.33 for Soli Bailey. That places him firmly in the lead. Adriana de Souza in second. Griffin Colapinto now in third. He's in a combination spot, meaning he needs 2 scores to even give himself a chance to get back into that top spot. Bruce Irons is in 4th place. Sets keep rolling through here at Pipeline. And it looks like Surfer in Blue, San Clemente's Griffin Colapinto having a dig. He goes right, and that wave ends up, much like his previous effort, in disaster.
Griffin Colapinto is swinging at everything that comes his way. Speaking of coming his way, once again, Solomon Bailey, is this the only guy in the heat? Parks it for another great backdoor barrel and then takes to the air.
Well, we said all along it was going to take skill, fortitude. You were going to have to throw it all on the line, and you were going to have a little bit of luck on your side, and that's what we just saw with Soli Bailey, basically finding that diamond in the haystack right there as he paddling back out. That wave just swung right to him, and look at the way he surfed this thing. I mean, this is just effortless for Soli Bailey.
Absolutely picture perfect positioning as he parks it under the lip and then goes to the air, because he's not air. That's just the exclamation point. And once again, Griffin Colapinto stuck inside to watch his compadre, Solomon Bailey, get yet again another excellent ride.
And it's deja vu for Griffin, who has to just watch as Bailey just keeps the pedal to the metal. Score comes through, and he will improve and extend his lead, a 5.93 for Bailey's last wave. So Soli Bailey just keeps himself firmly entrenched in that #1 spot. Adriana de Souza, Griffin Colapinto, Bruce Irons now all playing catch up. And the ocean is looking like it's cleaning up. More waves are coming through. This is how you want to end an already incredible event. As you see, Sets marching onto the reef. Griffin Colapinto, this could be his final shot. He's opting for the left. Griffin grabs his rail, pulls up under the lip. Could he have an exit? No. Pipeline has other ideas for Colapinto as he goes down. Now Bruce Irons looking left on his backhand. Goes into a deep bottom turn. Just a quick snap. And the body language tells us right there that is not the wave Bruce Irons was looking for.
But Bruce still not giving up, throws it into backside aerial 360. This is like Thunderdome. 4 men enter, 1 man leaves. Second place doesn't amount for much. You're here for the win. Solomon Bailey, will anybody knock him off the throne?
Well, Griffin Colapinto right here looks like he has a chance. And that wave did not give him what he needed. That is not going to be a score of note. So Griffin Colapinto most likely will stay down in 3rd place. And I think that Adriano de Souza now is going to be searching for something. He's the only surfer right now who has a chance at catching up with Soli Bailey, who got the lead early and has hung on to the lead throughout this entire final. So now the tension mounts. Will Adriano have a shot? A wave comes through. Adriano de Souza paddling. Will this wave be enough?
With 10 seconds, time ticking down, Adriano knows it needs something huge. Will that be enough? I'm no judge, but I love the barrel, and so does Solomon Bailey, raising his fist to the air.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We have a brand new champion at the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro. It is 21-year-old Soli Bailey from Australia. We talk to the winner when we return. This is the Red Bull Signature Series. Well, Australian surf fans are rejoicing as Soli Bailey is our brand new champion. You know, before this final went out, nobody on the beach was picking Soli Bailey. You had Bruce Irons in that final, Adriano de Souza, and Griffin Colapinto, who's been on an absolute charge. But it's always great to see an underdog come through with a big win. And here is that time-honored tradition. This is when our champion gets chaired up the beach. So you see how he's got a couple of his big mates and one of his smaller mates helping him up. And this is going to be the ride of young Soli Bailey's life.
That needs to be the screensaver on his phone. If ever he's having a bad day, just take a look at that, Solomon Bailey, because you, my friend, are on top of the world.
And here's where the beach just falls into madness. It's been a long event with days off, days on, giant waves coming through, tricky waves coming through. Soli Bailey had to fight through many different conditions here at Pipeline to get this win, making this not only a well-deserved win, but also has to be supremely meaningful to Soli in his campaign to make it to the World Championship Tour.
This is the first contest of note in the 2017 World Surf League Series for the qualifying, getting onto that championship tour. He is not only getting chaired up the beach right now, but he's getting chaired up the beach with 3,000 valuable points, putting him way ahead of everybody else on tour.
So Soli's got the points, he's getting the big check, and most importantly, now he puts himself on an illustrious list of only 4 surfers on the planet to own the Volcom Pipe Pro trophy. Kelly Slater, John Florence, Jamie O'Brien, and now Soli Bailey, who will add his name into surfing history by taking out one of the toughest surf competitions on the planet. Soli Bailey, a young surfer from Australia, now has his time in the sun as we go to Tina Dixon for an interview with our new champion.
Well, Soli, there was so much that happened in that heat. I mean, take us through the very beginning from catching that first wave. Then you end up on the beach with a broken leash, and you got to go back out there, but you still caught 2 more backdoor barrels.
Yeah, you know, it's just amazing. The waves turned on so good out there. It's as much as it sucked to break my leash and get that wave on the head, it was amazing because it was the first big set that came through and it was just perfect. Yeah, I'm just baffled right now.
You know, you told me earlier that you wanted to win this. You wanted to go, you know, all the way and finish on the podium. In fact, there's only been 3 guys that have ever won this, and now you're adding your list to that, or name to that list. What does that mean?
Oh, it's seriously a dream come true. This is the best event, you know, to win in terms of waves and just this place is amazing. I'm baffled. I'm speechless. It feels really good.
We'll enjoy this. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Going into this event, the 21-year-old Byron Bay native Soli Bailey was never in the discussion of potential winners. That was reserved for previous Volcom Pipe Pro champions and pipe masters like Jamie O'Brien and world champions Kelly Slater and John Florence. However, the young underdog prevailed and kept his composure throughout this competition with patience, timing, wave selection, and yes, even a little luck. That helped this young Aussie surf to the top of the podium. Congratulations to Soli Bailey for coming in first in every heat he competed throughout this entire contest and putting together the 2 biggest waves of the finals for the win and capturing today's Red Bull signature moment. Another epic Volcom Pipe Pro in the books. Dave, final thoughts?
Underneath that jersey, Solomon Bailey has a cape. He is a superhero.
And with that, let's turn it over to Sal Masekela.
Thank you, Chris. Man, what a party. Thanks for joining us at the 2017 Volcom Pipe Pro here at the Banzai Pipeline on the North Shore of Oahu, Hawaii. Incredible surfing from both sides, the vets and the rising stars. And after 7 years of the same 3 champions, the Volcom Pipe Pro finally has a new champion. Let's hear it for the underdog, Soli Bailey from Australia, the biggest win of his career. As well as congratulations to Adriano De Souza, Griffin Colapinto, who you'll be seeing a lot of in the future, as well as Bruce Irons. Once again, mahalo for the Hang friends, and on behalf of the entire NBC Sports crew, including Chris Cote, Dave Wassel, and Tina Dixon, I am Sal Masekela, and we will see you next time. Aloha.